I'm Alex Remy, I'm the brand director of Rainbow Six Siege in Ubisoft Montreal Studios.
My name's Jeremy Dowsett, I'm a level designer with Ubisoft Montreal.
And I'm Alex Karpazis, I'm presentation director.
Para Bellum is the second season of year 3. I think after going with the Outbreak, where we sort of diverge a little bit from the core DNA of what Rainbow Six is, we had a strong wish to go back to the roots of PvP. The season is extremely strong because on top of the regular content, the 2 operators plus the map that is actually pretty competitive and pretty solid, we add a bunch of very cool features for PvP. Including an echo buff, the new cameras, new sets of cameras and observation tools. So overall, you'll see the season that's coming out with Para Bellum is extremely strong on PvP.
From a map standpoint, the map from the get-go was built to be ranked. It was built to go pro, and it was one of the goals for me from start to finish was to make sure it actually hit pro leagues, hit the ESL, and actually be as competitive as humanly possible. So to do that, you look at navigation and flow, and that's primarily what I do from start to finish, is make sure that rotations and navigation between bomb points is as simple and as clean as humanly possible, and it's fun to play and quick to rotate.
For operators, we have 2 new defenders, so we're bringing that balance back to the operator select. And it was one part adding something we've never really seen before in an operator, and another part adding a really fun and aggressive defender.
Yeah.
I think Alibi is something that we're toying around with the idea of counterintelligence, right? How do you devise an operator that is a strong roamer and that can actually deceive the character, and being extremely versatile and creative, right? So the whole idea with her gadget being those decoys that she can put and that creates an exact replica of her, understanding that a siege player's psychology is usually the moment you see an enemy, you aim and you shoot with the intent to kill. She's the perfect countermeasure to this. So it's going to be a psychological warfare with the Alibi when she's in the round. So I can't wait to see it happen, actually.
Alibi is a lot of fun because she is all about the mind games. You look at her kit, you look at her gadget. It was playing on the idea of that first-person shooter reflex, and then as soon as you introduce her, now you have this doubt as to whether this is the real Alibi, where is she at any given moment. And even her passive ability where you run out of the map and you're no longer immediately identified as a specific operator. It's just a whole bunch of mind games to play on the attacking side.
Maestro, I'd say, is a little bit more of a traditional and classic operator. His gadget is definitely the Devil's Eyes, or Evil's Eyes, is devised to actually counter the push towards the objective. It's obviously a camera, so an intel device for the defender that has a lot of versatility. Because it can see through smoke. It actually shot a very low damage sort of laser that can slow pushes when attackers are coming towards the objective. I think that's going to make pushing the objective a necessity to take care of his device and Maestro, so I'm expecting some good moments around the objective with Maestro.
For Maestro, he's like this amazing Italian charismatic man that there was a lot of, when we talked about his kit and loadout and gadget, it was about brutality, brute force. He's got an LMG, he's got an automatic shotgun that deletes walls. And when you compare the 2, Alibi and Maestro, you have one Alibi who's very counterintelligence, and Maestro who's very much about intelligence with his gadget, gaining that information, protecting and anchoring on the bomb plant site.
Obviously, Alibi has a very, very strong synergy as a roamer with the rest of the team. She's having a passive ability that is actually hiding her teammates' name when they actually go out of the map and are supposed to be revealed to the enemy team. So it's a strong passive that's gonna make her a very useful and lots of utility in her team. As for Maestro, he's between the intelligence that he can gather with his gadget and the fact that he can slow pushes down to the objective. Obviously, that makes it a strong core choice for defense.
Both of them have their own unique opportunities in synergizing, and like disclaimer, whenever we release an operator, we don't know the entirety about how like the community is going to use them, but already what we've seen is for Alibi, the opportunity to kind of bring other trapper defenders with that. So maybe you have a shield and then her gadget's behind the shield and then you plant a frost trap on there as well. You can start stacking all of these traps together to really create these defensive holds. And then on Maestro's side, he is an anchor. So he can actually work really well with maybe pairing him with a smoke or an echo. And now you have this incredible stall potential holding them off of a plant spot. So there's some really fun ways to pair these guys up.
I fell for the, I vaulted through the, I did the whole, the shield thing the other day and vaulted through straight into a frost trap.
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, I've been hearing you say that for days and I fell for it yesterday.
You still haven't learned.
I fell for it yesterday, it was hilarious.
The map is pretty big, as I'm sure you have played. It was clearly designed with the objective of having all of the bomb sites as balanced as possible. We really wanted to achieve a map that could, as quickly as possible, be in Pro League and competitive play. It's also I think, one of the most beautiful maps that we've designed. Learnings from all those years and all those maps, I think, are now coming along, and I think is one of the strongest maps we've released so far.
There's always something you want to bring to. I always want to bring something new to a map. You know, put your own little kind of personal spin on it. If you're talking specifically about operators, no, I don't design for operators. I design, again, for navigation and flow, because if you design for an operator, then generally it's gonna end up being OP and the community's gonna hate it. So because of the longevity of the game and the way we actually want to keep the community engaged, you go for making it fun, making it navigable as humanly possible, but bringing something new. Yeah, you know, the entrances in the basement where you can come in from the crypt tunnel or from the cellar or from the garage, and which allows the rotations, because you can go straight from the basement to ground floor, because European I can do that, not first floor, second floor. So you can actually go through and, you know, go straight from basement to ground floor to first floor very, very quickly up the red stairs or the main stairs. So it's really quite interesting, and it allows for a lot of unique gameplay and a lot of really fast movement. I think it's a very roamer friendly map, and you know, as we see today at the ESL event, it's like, you know, roamers are playing a pretty big key in the pro matches. So I think it's going to be quite well received by the community and quite well balanced. There's a couple of key areas. I wouldn't just pinpoint one. You know, if you want to talk about bomb sites, my favorite bomb site is Trophy Statue, because there's the alcove and you can have a firefight across the alcove, which is super fun. Plus there's the skylight if you're brave and you want to rappel in, you know, which is, you know, yeah. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It really depends upon, you know, who's playing and, you know, how the strategy's going. But what I find interesting is the rotations on and off of bomb sites for the defense and the attackers, especially if someone's getting pushed. The strats is the most interesting thing for me, and now the map's being released into the wild. It's when I sit and watch people play and look at my work and learn from what people like, what people don't like. But if you want my favorite bomb site, it's definitely Statue Trophy. I think it's the most fun.
I think balancing, as you can imagine, and now the meta is going to be reaching 42 operators. Each piece of the puzzle has an interaction within each other. That's why months ago we decided to create a whole balancing team that's purely dedicated to look at the overall data and player behavior and try to see between peak rate, win rate, and all of the different ratio how we balance a game. So the game is becoming more and more complex, deep, and it's all those challenges of always fine-tuning so that the balance of the game is as good as possible. I'm surprised as we move forward to see that there's still so much will to innovate and create when it comes to the operators. Back 2 or 3 years ago when we thought about the idea of being there for 10 years or more, like, guys, come on, 100 operators, isn't that going to create a challenge? Aren't we going to be sort of dry out of creative ideas? And I think so far I'm pretty pleased with what the design team comes out with.
Always having something fresh and new to look forward to surprise, that's always something that we strive to do.
Well, there's a cookbook for a rainbow map. There's a cookbook. You know, we know what works, we know what doesn't work. It's taking those things that the players love, because when you see, say, with Villa, and like I said, I want to see what the strategy is and how it's going to play out. You don't know how they're going to play it, so you sit and watch and you do your research and see what they like, what they don't like. But what's really interesting is the community pushes us to push our design. So when you see how, with Alibi, for instance, how she can like poke a hole and just like, you know, play with people's minds, and you know, Alibi, you can really abuse the other team with her. It's kind of really interesting. Like design choices like that, I think, pushes the community. And then when you see the way the community reacts to them and plays with them, then it's like, oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah. And then when you go into the next map and the next design process, you kind of go, okay, I remember that. And you know, you learn from your mistakes and you learn from your wins. And the beautiful thing is the community at large will tell you what they like, what they don't like. So I'm excited to see what happens and to learn from how the map's played. So next time I can make a better map for the community and for Rainbow.